Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to start a side saddle module. We're going to make these 4 side saddles. These 4 will be found in my book, Modern Side Saddles, English and Western for the Model Horse Arena, which can be found on Amazon in print, or you can get a digital version on my website, karaoke.com. You have, that's what the cover of my book looks like. So to go over a history of the side saddle really quick, we have how women first were carted around on a horse. They would be on this first one here. You see how it's a pretty much a chair. There's a curved rail in the back, and this here for her feet is called a planchette. So she would literally be sitting side saddle on her bottom on this here. She would be led. She had no control over the horse because they're so frail and dainty. And they would usually be riding a gaited horse um, so that they wouldn't be bounced out of the chair. I'm surprised there isn't a seatbelt. Literally surprised they didn't put a seatbelt in. So by the 15th century, they had the padded seat with a horn and no rail in the back. This here is the actual prototype of a side saddle used by Queen Elizabeth the First in 1572. So we still have the planchette. She's still sitting pretty much sideways. But then one day, the rider wrapped her knee around the horn. There you go. And decided that's the way she wanted to ride because it gave her better grip. And that was the beginnings of her being able to control her own horse. With that, they had the two-headed side saddle, introduced in about 1850. The woman would put her thigh in between the two horns and wrap around the left horn. Now, the interesting thing about side saddles, they can be either left or right. With the planchette could be moved to either side, so she could sit on either side. It's the same thing today. In fact, I've seen a double side saddle where there's a stirrup on both sides and there's jumping horns on both sides. And there's the cover here on both sides. So no matter which side she wants to sit on, she can sit on that side. It's very interesting. I never made one. I don't even think I kept a picture of it. It was very interesting. So you can make it either left or right, and either one is correct. Okay. This is where they recognized that a balance strap was needed in order to keep the saddle from tipping sideways. So a balance strap comes out the right side or the opposite side of your large, wherever your leg is going to be. And it goes diagonally across underneath the horse's belly. And I'll show you that in a bit. But that's important. That's what they have is then 1830, there was a leaping head, which is this outside curved one. And it's looking more like a modern saddle, but you still have 3 horns. The cutback saddle type was introduced in 1860. This is your curved seat. See the curve? And so there's a cutback right here between the leaping horns. Now, they might have a handkerchief pouch. It's more common in the 3-horn style. But if there is a handkerchief pouch, it would be over here on this flap on the off side. Here's your balance strap. Okay, and then the flat seat. That was introduced in the early 1900s. This is the one you see most commonly. The handkerchief pouch on the offside is rare. They can be reinforced for jumping, so it can be a jumping English saddle. Yes, that is allowed. So that's your flat seat. See, very flat. All right, then we have Western. Western saddles were mostly based on an English tree. an English side saddle tree, and they just used Western skirts. This one here at the top it's from the early 1800s. It has a leaping head. Here, it just doesn't look all that comfortable to ride. So this is an English tree with Western skirts. Then we have Charles Goodnight commissioned a more comfortable side saddle for his wife that she could use on cattle drives. This is what it looks like. Sometimes this outside rail extended upward. It has a little bit of a horn here, but it definitely has got those Western skirts. The steel is the most common. I don't know if Steel is still making these. He did it originally, and he had a website when I wrote this book with some of these really gorgeous side saddles. Skirts are either round or square Western style. So you'll never see this with English skirts. It is strictly Western. Okay, with side saddles, you could tell by the leaping heads what type of saddle it is, and that's the important thing to look for, is the heads. Okay, those heads, the leaping head will tell you it's more modern. If it doesn't have one, it's going to be older. That's what you need to look at to identify its age. The rigging is important. So you have the simplest one, the girth, one balance strap. So that's 3 billets. And that's the simple one. And so you end up with 4 buckles or 3 buckles on one side. You really only need 2 on the other. And this would be an extra strap. So then we have the Fitzwilliam style, and it has a 3rd girth in the middle. So you end up with 4 buckles on one side and 4 buckles on the other. Well, 3 on the other, because this one's going to be on the back of the tree. And with the Fitzwilliam style, the this girth that's on in the center actually holds down your flaps. It's a pain to buckle this thing, let me tell you. If you're going to buckle it, you'll buckle it on the right side, because the left side is nearly impossible. The Western cinch, the Goodnight, would have 2 web cinches, and originally was buckled or rigged just like a regular Western saddle. But then he realized that the horse couldn't breathe, because that rear cinch had to be buckled so tight to keep the saddle from slipping, that they went ahead and made the back webbing a cross style. So it would cross like this one here does. So your rear cinch, you do your front cinch, and then in the hopefully the right below it, there'll be another. You'll make another hole for a rear cinch to be locked in there, so it crosses. And then you've got rules. I like to put rules. Now, these may have changed. The book was written in 2009. Okay, the rule book states for use set that a side saddle is considered suitable equipment. If a side saddle is considered suitable equipment, then a side saddle can be used as a substitute for the astride version. And so it's allowed in dressage. There's no mention about endurance. Endurance, usually, they don't care. Equitation is not allowed in saddle seat, but it is allowed in hunter seat and in Western seat, reining seat. Equitation and eventing allowed in dressage. It does not mention cross country or arena jumping. Hunter division, it's allowed in lady side saddle classes with specific requirements. And then I go over that. And then there's also what breeds are allowed to use it. So it's not allowed for Andalusian Lusitanos. It is allowed for Arabians dressage. For Frisians, it's allowed in English pleasure, hunt seat, dressage, dressage hack, dressage suitability, hunter hack, Western pleasure, and costume. Hackney, it's allowed in any pleasure class. Morgan, if they're in the appropriate tack and attire, are allowed in all classes except equitation or AMHA classes. National Show Horse is allowed in ladies' English size saddle classes. And then there's an excerpt from the National Show Horse rules. Paso Fino, Saddlebred, Shetland Pony, there's no mention. Western Pony and Cob, there's no mention. So that's giving an idea of what breeds. And now how this works is USET will tell you the classes, and then you check the breed. And if the breed has a different set of rules about it than the USET rules, you go by the breed rules. Okay. So if Andalusi and Lusitano say not allowed, then no matter what USET says, the breed rules override. So it would never be allowed. Anyways, then there's riders. Something to know about the pattern layout. The patterns are asymmetrical. That means the left side of the saddle is not a mirror image of the right side. If you're going to place the material on the right side or trying to trace from the right side, your saddle will be in reverse. You need to put all the pattern pieces on the wrong side of the material. Not all of the pieces require this because the aluminum tree is cut on the unpainted side. You can flip if you want the side saddle to be on the other side. The thing is, if you do anything too unique, judges don't get it, and they might downgrade you. I'll bring this up. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the inside of one of my books, but every time it's assembly, it's directions on one side, and then it's picture on the other side, showing what it is that you're doing. So, anyways, I go through step by step how to assemble, and that's what the inside of the book looks like. I want to thank you for spending time with me. Like, subscribe, tell all your horsey friends that we're doing side saddles, and share it. And then you have yourself a really good day. Bye bye.